Hi, I'm Patience. So I'm from London, but I am French originally. Um, so what do? I do two things. First, I work with women to support their self-care and to support them to have a better life, a happier life. So I support them through tapping, through journaling, and I also support young people with their mindset in regards to relationships, in regards to money, in regards to career. Um, and anything else that they need in terms of motivation in their lives. Um, my top three architects are nurturer, romantic, and celebrity, which is a funny combination. And the reason why I love doing, what bring me into courses is really because I follow people. So for you, Denise, it was really like you were the best friend next door, you were the person that was so accessible. And especially for someone like me, I felt like, oh my God, someone who's just talking easily and is not making herself like a star or anything. She's like the best friend that everyone wants to have, who's just telling you the truth.
When you are joining programs or courses, if you're looking at a sales page, what are some of the things that kind of turn you on and turn you off?
I think for me, everyone that I've followed is because it's been also aesthetically really nice. But I think that I'm like, I've got girl crush, or I've got crushes on people. And I think when I first read your book, I told my husband, I'm going to get her program. And he was like, oh no, why are you going to do that? That's too much money. So, he's archetyped, yeah. And then I went like, no, I know already, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to be ready, I'm going to buy it. And then when the time came, also I took advantage of the payment plan. But when the time came, I was like, I'm going for it. And I just did it. And to be honest with you, that was the first high course that I paid for myself, was your course. And from there, I think like it kind of like bridged the gap for me. And then I was able to go and pay maybe another course to do my own courses, and things like that, and put things in place. And also, when I was saying that it's a crush, is like really, I fall in love with people. I fall in love with things. Like those earrings, I saw them, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have them. So even this top, I was like, oh my God, this is green, is like, and you see this green is like a deep green. And when I see your website, is like a deep blue. There's someone else in your group that I'm not going to mention. I don't know if we mention names or not, but basically I went into a program because everything was pink and really bright pink, like, so there's kind of this starstruck kind of life with me, and that makes me go for the people as well by their course.
So Patience, a follow-up question on that, because your top is nurturer, but I would say, were you pretty close with your scores, with your romantic and your celebrity? Were they all pretty similar? Yeah.
So nurturer took over, and then the both, really close.
So do you think that your nurturer needs something different than your romantic and your celebrity when it comes to buying programs? Like, do you are you looking for a different type of support, do you think? Or it's just about you want that connection, you want to feel cared for? And because you're saying, BFF, it's like you want to feel like that person cares about you. Is that your nurturer side, do you think?
Okay, so there's one thing. So basically there was a call we were on, and you were talking about the fact that when you are doing certain things and you are like calling people's name in your workshop or a session, and then the nurturer will get upset and they'll be like, oh, she didn't call my name. So And that actually happened to me in one of the first session. And then in another session, you called my name, and I was like, oh my God, she called my name, and I was like, so yeah, I think there is this element of like being cared for or being seen, if I can say it like that, being seen. But also I think it's maybe in another way doing something for myself that I wouldn't have done in otherwise. So I'm always caring for others, and this was my way of being like, no, I'm getting this for me.
So I would love to hear, though, let's talk about the sabotaging part of that, okay, if that's all right. Where is that romantic part of your business? I know it's not top for everybody, but where is that sabotaging your business of like, I don't feel like it, or the impulsivity part of it? And even like, what have you done to overcome those things? I mean, for me, batching is how I overcome that romantic part of me, because I'm in a space at the moment where I cannot be fucked doing anything. I'm like, I cannot be bothered posting on social media, but I'm like, oh, but Denise from 3 weeks ago felt like it. Yay.
I think it's showing the same way as you were saying. I've also hired a VA, but I do, like, she has to chase me up a lot. And sometimes I'm just like, I feel guilt. I think sometimes I feel guilt that I've not done what I'm supposed to do, because then she can't do what she's supposed to do in that sense. But I've got this, I don't know, I think I live in like La La Land a little bit. So sometimes I kind of go into my dream, and when I go so far into the dream, I get so motivated that I do a lot of work. And then I get this phase where it's like, I wouldn't say it's burnout. It's not burnout, but it's like more of a phase like, well, I'm okay now. So, and I just leave it go. And then I'm like, oops, the inspiration is back here. So yes, I'm a bit of like an upside down person. But I've learned to accept a little bit more of that and to go with the flow. So I'm not giving too much into the guilt no more, but I'm being a little bit more authentic. So I will say on social media, well, this is what happened this week. So you will hear from me, in whatever. Or I tell people like, yeah, we need to reschedule, or, in much more in that sense, without feeling like I have to, because this is this. Yeah.
And so I'm curious as well, what are the parts of your archetypes? Because, we've got the celebrity romantic can be a double whammy of that impulsivity, right? The impulsivity shopping, the romantic celebrity, which patients you have as well, right? It's like, you just want to feel really good. You want to feel really good all the time. So sometimes I find that the archetypes, sometimes they cancel out the challenges, sometimes they magnify them. But also on the other side, sometimes they magnify the opportunities too, right? And so for me, I've got the ruler maverick, which magnetizes the speed a lot. And almost the impulsivity again. So how are your three?
Well, to be honest with you, the nurturer is kind of leading my life up until last couple of years, to be honest. But another thing that I found with the romantic, and also, so I'm very generous. And I'm very generous with people I like, with people, my family, my friends. And I found that in the I would say 5 years, last 5 years, it's become a problem for me. So knowing that now I'm a little bit more assertive into how I'm giving, and I'm giving on purpose. So into my business, I've incorporated like a little bit more philanthropy. So I kind of give in that way. So instead of overgiving and being like, oh, we've had the coaching session, but I'm still gonna keep on going and give you another one extra for free, and so on, because it never stops. I go like, okay, so we've come to the end, and I'm gonna maybe use some of the money that has been there to give to a charitable cause or something like that. And that's kind of like been feeding not only my way of feeling like, okay, I'm not guilty because I'm getting money from someone or from something, but at the same time, I'm giving back in that way. This was one thing that that came out a lot. And also another thing as well is supporting other people. So that's really important for me in general. And I feel like by being the way I am, by showing myself more authentically, I've inspired other people to also come and show themselves in that way and not be afraid. So today I look like this, tomorrow I might be with a hoodie and, like, I go with the flow, basically. And even though I go with the flow, I have to be honest with you. So having role model like you and some people that are in the boot camp is helped me to know that you don't have to be perfect every day, but you still need to show up and still do what you need to do. And so sometimes, yeah, it's so scruffy, but I still show up and accept myself in that way. In terms of the celebrity, it's caused more problem, I will say, in my life, or challenges, I will say, in my personal life with my husband, my husband is more of an accumulator. So we kind of bump into the spending of the household and things like that. So for example, so way before I learned about you or your existence, I had a nanny, and I also had someone to help me to do some cleaning. The reason is when I had my third child, I was like, no, it's too much for me, I can't do it. So I just hired someone, and from there, it was like a bit of a fight to get that person into the house. And then it was a fight to give them a key so that they were actually part of the, yeah. So it went like that, but I kind of took over more of like my needs and went with it. So I think this is where they show up in my life, really.
I think that's really interesting too, because when I was saying that some combinations, create this amplifier effect, and something that nurturers, romantics, and celebrities have in common is generosity. It is something that's there for all three of them. And, for the romantics, it's often generosity around everything, time, lending money, those kind of things. For the romantic and celebrity, it can be about buying gifts for other people, and being very generous in that way. So you've got a triple whammy of that, but it sounds like that you have come to a place where you were saying, being intentional about your philanthropy and things like that. But there's also that thing of enoughness, of like, it's enough. Otherwise, all three of those could just be like, but it's never enough.
So yes, it is that when is it ever enough? Like it's never enough. And I think, so coming from my background, so my parents came from Africa to France. And when they came to France, so they meet each other. And my mom was much more of a saver, and my dad was much more of a spender. And he was a footballer in Togo. So he's been used since he was really young to, being out and having things like easily for him and things like that. So he's always had that kind of way. And so I was always torn between, you need to save money and you need to spend money. And I think in that way, I've learned myself to be like, well, I've got it today, I'm spend it, and tomorrow I don't have it, so I got into this kind of habit and things like that. And I think this was amplified later on when I had like real life challenges. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to show everyone that I'm fine. And I'm going to go and spend more money to show people that I'm fine, So yeah, it's kind of I think I've learned a lot from all my archetype, and I think they really represent me.
So I would love to hear, if you've got any insights into what kind of clients that you really resonate with, and especially if you've had this aha after doing SMA. And sometimes it's a spectrum, right? Because my connector nurturer is pretty low, I couldn't work with connectors nurturers who really need a lot of hand-holding, really need a lot of connection, or ones who need a lot of, hand-holding and gentleness, right? So I know that about myself now. But I think there's, like I've definitely, especially the first time I ran SMA, I kind of sold it like a ruler. I was just like, just buy it because it makes sense. And people needed more information than that, right? And so it's tricky now, even, doing SMA again, because we are kind of selling it to everybody. But I do see the benefit, especially if you've got one-to-one services, like really knowing which archetypes are going to benefit the most from your combination of archetypes.
So it's so weird because I feel like I'm attracting more nurturers, and they're at the point where they're fed up. So at the point where I was there, where they're always caring for everyone, or doing everything for everyone and not actually putting their needs first. Yeah, and I think for me is more in terms of cultural problem, in the sense of like it's a lot of clients are coming from either Asian or Black African, and it's where they've been kind of forced to be a certain way and suppress their own what they wanted, and then finally they're like, oh, I can get everything I want to get, or I can do what I want to do for me. Yeah, so I would say it's more of these people. Yeah.
And I would say too, nurturers who want that permission, as you said, for self-care, but also your celebrity part is probably giving them permission to be visible, but in a very accessible way, because I think that nurturer celebrity combination can be really interesting, because if someone is a like really, really high pure celebrity, they don't know how to connect to that self-doubt that sometimes those nurturers have. It would be too much of a bridge kind of thing. So then it's like you've got those nurturers who are like, oh, maybe I can do what she can do because she makes it look beautiful and glamorous, but I feel like I can do that. And as you said, you go with the flow. So you can be glamorous one day, hoodie the next. That could be, that real permission piece for those people. And as you said, say more about that, because I just, when you said they're fed up, I really saw that of like, oh, we really got to look at our clients of like, where are they, that unconscious incompetence? Are they in the conscious incompetence? Where are they at going, I feel like I need, are they at the point where they're going, I really want to step out? And they're just like, they're ready. They're almost like, they've got half a foot out the door. Hang on, just unmute yourself, hon. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, that's right. They're almost where they're gonna go. And I think they need that permission, but they can't get it themselves. So then when they look at me, I'm like the mirror of that permission for them. And I think many of them tell me, you've been such an inspiration from when I've seen you do something for yourself, that I said to myself, I also want that. It's just, yeah.
So Patience, you said you have kids too, right?
Yes.
Can you see what your kids' archetypes are already?
Yes, my first one is a nurturer, that's for sure. My second one, I'm not too sure, because sometimes he's more of a celebrity, sometimes he's more of a ruler, and he's got a bit of the nurturer side as well. But my last one is definitely a ruler. It's like, yeah, there's no, he's there, yes, and he rules all of us. So.
How old is he?
He's 7.
Oh, that's so cute. But it's so cute thinking, oh, wouldn't it be great to have a couple of entrepreneurs in the family too?
Yeah, my second one is actually the one who says, oh, you shouldn't have said that. Oh, you know what? You should put this in your marketing. Oh, this looks good. So what are you doing today? And so before I met you, before I met you, I was doing my business still in self-care, but it was much more products for people. And I will go to market. It will be the only one being like, I want to come with you and be with me at the market and say, my mom is selling this, you should come and buy it, you know.
So I would love to hear if there's anything else that you guys want to share, any aha that you've had around, you know, like your business model, things that you've shifted and changed that didn't work, you know, well for you. You know, I've had a lot of ahas about, and this is good and bad, right? So when I set up Money Bootcamp, I didn't set it up as a membership because I didn't want the commitment of a membership. And I think that was my maverick going, no, don't commit. But then, you know, I've created a pay once program that I've had for 10 years. And it still kind of feels like, well, I could leave at any time, but I kind of, in a way, sabotage that a little bit because of my need for independence and freedom. So I'd be curious if there's anything, and if you need to go, that's totally fine. But you know, it's just such a fascinating conversation. Is there anything that you've realized, and it could be about like length of things that didn't work for your personality, or different ways of delivering things that didn't work that you had to kind of shift?
I think for me, with SMA especially, I did download the the worksheet and everything, and I went to the work and I did do most of the exercises. But what I did is that I implemented exactly what came out of the exercise. So, for example, in my delivery. So, and I think that's why maybe I'm attracting so many nurturers, is because I really went, like, for example, I want to feel secure. So then I went into this whole thing about feeling secure. And obviously, so many people want that. So then they're like, "Ooh, I see myself in this." And I kind of used it a lot more in my social media. But another thing as well, I think, again, I think for me is again this idea of permission. So I went to look for what I needed to have in my business to change. So I didn't know how to create courses. I went and learned how to create courses. I implemented courses in my business. And I think in a short amount of time, people started to see the shift and they were like, what happened to you? But that happened because from everything that came out, I was able to see like, oh, this is where maybe I've got those challenges, but how can I use them to show people that you can have those and still come out on the other side and have a success with it. And I've been using more and more authenticity and really sharing deep secrets. As I say, there is no secrets and everything needs to be shared. And I think that was a big part for me of my youth, where it was like, you shouldn't tell people about what you're doing best. You should wait until they see it happen. And I went like, no, I'm coming out to the world. I did my coming out, if I can say that.
I love that. And that's that celebrity, right? Of like letting the celebrity out. And I'm sure you have clients there too who probably have some suppressed celebrity, you know, and they want to have that permission, as we said before. So what would you say to someone who's thinking of joining SMA?
I think, so I've already referred people to the SMA. I've been like, you need this. So yeah, I would say you need this. That's the first thing. And then second, I will say, it really gives you an insight. I think Shay said it before. It gives you an insight into yourself already, you personally and the people around you. And you start to realize that, oh my gosh, like I can't move forward if I don't have this knowledge. And I think you give a lot of knowledge in terms of like, this is why you feel like this, or this is why those kind of things happen. So for example, for me, where I'm a giver and overgiver, I was able to put a little bit more boundaries into my business and be like, oh, when I'm creating those courses, I don't have to overgive myself, because the courses, people do it by themselves, and I don't have to be there so much. And then my energy is not overrun, and I feel happy to be with people, if that makes sense. So I will really encourage everyone, not only for the professional and the business, but even for the personal, people who want to thrive, to come and try the SMA.
So, are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? Hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.